You get it back, you get it done in 15 minutes, no problem.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Redevelopment Agency meeting of September 5, 2007 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. The Redevelopment Agency meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, can be viewed on the city's website at www.kclv.tv. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m. and also on Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 1 p.m. We make the usual announcement that the building is protected by a state-of-the-art fire alarm system, and if the alarm should activate during today's meetings, please evacuate through the exits. Once outside, assemble on the Las Vegas Boulevard side of the property, and employees wearing safety vests or our city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. As I say, that's just a precautionary statement, and we have no reason to suspect that the alarms will in fact activate. All right, we'll call item number 3, which is RA 15-2007, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Commercial Visual Improvement Program CVIP agreement between the Redevelopment Agency, the RDA, and Todd Member LLC owner and Todd Moore LLC doing business as Todd Motor Motel tenant and CVIP participant located at 1508 South Las Vegas Boulevard to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the RDA. This is in Ward 3, and the item is related to Council Item 68, which will be heard later today, and RDA Item number 4, which I will read into the record. 4 is discussion and possible action regarding a commercial visual improvement program agreement between the Redevelopment Agency and Todd Member LLC owner and Todd Moore LLC doing business as Todd Motor Motel tenant and CVIP participant, providing funds to assist with improvements to a building and property located at 1508 South Las Vegas Boulevard, not to exceed $50,000 from the RDA Special Revenue Fund, Ward 3, and this is related to item 68 with the council meeting and RDA item number 3, which we had just read. Mr. Adams, I'd like to hear from you.
Okay, good morning, RDA members. Scott Adams, Operations Officer of the Redevelopment Agency. This is an item that really consists of 3 companion items, 2 on the RDA agenda and then 1 that trails at the council meeting, respecting improvements that have been made and will be made to a property at 1508 South Las Vegas Boulevard. Now, I remind you that when you approve these items this morning on the RDA agenda, you do so contingent upon the item being approved at the council meeting for the item to be fully approved for us to be able to move forward on this project. This is a project where we started working with the applicant, I think, back sometime in April. They came in, we worked with them on a number of issues relative to the improvement of their building and didn't actually make application until more recently. So what we're proposing to you this morning is that we consider them for an amount not to exceed $50,000, most of which would be new improvements to be made to their property, and then giving them some retroactive credit for improvements that they've already made to their property. I've got on the overhead here some befores and afters. If I can get those pulled up here, I can point out what I mean. Okay, there we go. At the top row on your overhead are some before pictures that show the front of the building, the signage, and then the rear of the building. And then at the bottom are some pictures that show more recent photos showing some of the work that they've already done. Now, they continue. Hello? Okay. They continue to make additional improvements to the property, and those are the improvements that we're asking that you consider here. Those would be things like new iron gates, landscaping, more paint, just more improvements to their property. So this is, again, a project where we're recommending a not-to-exceed amount of $50,000. You have the requisite three agenda items. So there's a resolution of the RDA making the findings of the RDA that this is consistent with the redevelopment plan. There's the actual motion to approve the agreement with the property owners, and then the trailing item at the council meeting is the item that makes the council findings that consents to the actions taken by the RDA and finds those actions consistent with the redevelopment plan.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions of Mr. Adams? Folks, would you like to be heard? Oh, yes, Mayor Pro Tem. No. Broken speaker.
Test.
Oh, I turned you up.
I love him. Gets his name in the paper, and what happens? Your Honor, I've met these fine people 3 or 4 months ago. I've been out there. I've watched what they've done. They're very, very hardworking people. They want this to really be a turnaround for the area, and the thing that they're doing out there is just one step from being, to me, super phenomenal. They've really taken a dead horse and made something out of it, and I think we just need to keep supporting people like this to come into our city and want to do something, not for themselves, but for all of us. And they're doing a fantastic job out there. I went to some of the rooms. I had a tour. We tried to help all we can. I think this here is just continuing to show our support for what they're doing.
Right. Folks, would you like to be heard? Tell us your name, please.
My name is Rand Tadmore. This is my wife, Carol Tadmore. And Mr. Mayor and Council, we just wanted to say thank you. As a 30-year resident, it's our pleasure and honor to give back to a community that gave us so much. And we're honored to be there and kind of to take our neighborhood back and to make you guys proud.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem.
That's it. I make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval of this item, please.
All right, let's vote on item number 3, please. Post. Motion carries. And
I voted yes.
item number 4.
Same motion, Honor.
All right, please vote. Post. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 5 is RA 16-2007, discussion and possible action regarding a resolution finding the project proposed by the Commercial Visual Improvement Program agreement between the Redevelopment Agency and Buyers Only Real Estate Agency, LLC, doing business as Vegas Wedding Chapel, located at 555 South 3rd Street, to be in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the RDA. This is in Ward 3, and this item is related to Council Item number 69, which will be heard later on today, and item number 6, which I'll read into the record. 6 is discussion and possible action regarding a commercial visual improvement program agreement between the Redevelopment Agency and Buyers Only Real Estate Agency, LLC, doing business as Vegas Wedding Chapel, providing funds to assist with the improvements to property fronting South 3rd Street, not to exceed $50,000 from the RDA Special Revenue Fund, Ward 3, of course, and the item is related to Council Item number 69 and the previous RDA item number 5. Mr. Adams.
This is another VIP item. Again, the 3 requisite items, 2 on the RDA agenda, 1 on the council agenda that would, again, there's a contingency action here that these actions aren't valid until the final council items approved, but these respect the development of a wedding chapel at 555 South 3rd Street, which is at the corner of 3rd and Bonneville. I have on the overhead shots that in the lower left corner showing the site and the location. By reference, it's directly across the street from Jewel, the Jewel project. And on the upper photos, you show the site before they started work on the chapel, and then in the lower photo is a sketch of what the chapel will look like. And it is under construction. As you know, our improvements and our funding, in this case, not to exceed $50,000, goes against the exterior visual improvements, the things that you actually see from the street. And that work is yet to be done. So this is one where it will make a definite impact in the area, and it's a small business type project, and staff recommends approval.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions of Mr. Adams? Folks, would you like to be heard?
Yeah, my name is Cliff Everts. This is my wife Suzanne at 320 South 3rd Street. We're building what we believe is the first world-class wedding chapel in Vegas, and we look forward to serving the community. We'd like to see higher-end weddings come to downtown Las Vegas, attract more people to downtown Las Vegas, and we think this will help the community do that. And we appreciate your assistance in this matter. Thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. All right, any questions of anybody? All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Again, they are making a difference down in our redevelopment area. I think it's really going to be a beautiful facility. I'm already married. I might think about going there myself. Anyhow, I'll make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval of this item also.
All right, let's vote on 5, please. Opposed? Motion carries.
And item 6, Your Honor, I make a motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval of this item also.
Thank you. Let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck, folks.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is report of declaration of interest in property located in the existing redevelopment areas. Ms. Bridges?
That's okay. I'll just slide it right there. Morning.
Good morning.
For the record, Beverly Bridges, City Clerk. NRS 279-454 requires any officer or employee of the city involved with the formulation or approval of plans or policies in the redevelopment area to disclose any direct or indirect financial interest in said properties. The law requires disclosure be entered upon the minutes of the redevelopment agency and the city council. This item, along with your city council item 11, later this morning, on the consent calendar, have satisfied both of those requirements. No motion is necessary on this item, and I thank you for hearing this report.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Bridges. Are there any questions, Ms. Bridges? All right, thank you very much for the report. Item number 8 is discussion and possible action regarding the Fremont Square parking validation program, formerly known as Neonopolis, for Warola Hayward LLC, located at 450 Fremont Street in Ward 5. Mr. Adams.
Yes, Scott Adams again. This is an item that's a continuation, actually, of a number of items as we've gone along on this project. It starts really in September of '06 when we granted our first validation, and we've continuously extended the validation program through the last, through 90 days ago. That 90-day approval is up today and up for reconsideration again before you. I will confess here this morning that I just received an email from Mr. Joshi indicating that he planned to have his attorney here between 10 and 1 a.m., and it was my fault for failing to notify him about the 8 a.m. start time this morning. So I don't know if this gentleman here is representing the Neonopolis project, but I know he did plan to have his attorney here, and it was a failure on my part to make them aware of the 8 a.m. start time that he's not here. They thought he might be here at 9:30. I just shot him another email back saying I thought it would be up around 8:15 to 8:30. So I'll leave that up to you.
All right, is the expiration today on the validation? Or
Yeah, we time these pretty carefully so that the meeting that it comes before you on is pretty much the expiration of the prior validation extension, so that I believe it does end on or about today's meeting.
All right, Councilman Barlow, what's your pleasure here?
Mayor, excuse me, I would be interested to know what Mr. Joshi's attorney would have to say. So if in fact we can hold it over until he arrives, being that it wasn't.
I don't know, can we do that?
I'm not sure.
We can? All right, then.
Yeah, you just have to reopen agency.
Okay,
at that
fine,
time.
if you'll, let's do that. Let's wait until Mr. Joshi's attorney, but we'll give you the opportunity to speak rather than waiting around, unless you'd like to wait around until his attorney.
I would prefer to wait,
Sure.
so I could hear this one.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
If you want to,
Mayor, I have a question. If
Yeah.
in fact we open public comment now, will we have to reopen it again?
you mean as far as this issue is concerned? I'm not going to let people speak twice to it if the attorney speaks.
Okay, great.
Don't have to. Tom McGowan, Las Vegas resident. It's reasonable to assume a parking validation program at Neonopolis, a.k.a. Fremont Square, is expressly contingent upon a compelling, immediate, and continuing reason for locals and visitors to patronize Neonopolis Fremont Square, the rose by any other name. You were previously and repeatedly advised that the subject property, and also the underground parking structure, can be made successful beyond previous expectations. But it doesn't exist in a vacuum, and it requires creative innovation by those who know how to do it. First, you have to really want to do it. When you're ready, you know the number to call. approve the item when the time is appropriate. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have this held over until Mr. Joshi's attorney comes later on this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's put a 2-minute timer on these because I don't know what people are talking about without hearing the attorney. Yes.
My name is Anthony Hodges, 123 Sir David Way. When you're talking about the underground parking at the theater in Neonopolis, you know, that's pretty much important to all of us, if any way possible, to keep that parking open, even that maybe can help the rest of the downtown, whatever. But that parking is very critical. I know you have other entities other than the movie and the parking combined right now. But if you plan on making the city grow, whatever you do, try and save the parking. That's all that I ask, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So we'll trail this till later on this morning.
We're going to communicate with him and try to get him here as soon as we can. I apologize again
No
for
problem.
not notifying him of the earlier start time.
It's not the end of the world. Item number 9 is report and possible action regarding redevelopment agency projects currently under contract or in negotiation, particularly wards 1, 3, and 5. Mr. Adams.
Okay, this we have not given this in a while. This is our quarterly PowerPoint update. If I can get the PowerPoint brought up here. There we go. I'm just going to walk you through, and some of these very quickly. Some of these will take a little more time on because they're a little bit newer projects. Yeah, I think we've all seen the new World Market Center Phase 2 building that's complete. The third building is under construction. This is a real good aerial view of their rendering that shows how the 3 of those buildings work together when all those 3 buildings are complete. I think the important thing here is when they're done, they'll have about 5 million square feet of mart space that's actually physically constructed, and then with their tents, they've told us all along that they believe this is a kind of critical mass that they need to kind of give this market the tipping point to really start to accelerate bringing the industry to Las Vegas. This is that shot that shows all of their phases put together. I mean, when you look at their entire property, and the buildings in the foreground are those that would actually get built on the property that's currently occupied by their tents. Moving to Union Park, we continue to work with Newland communities on numerous aspects of Union Park. I think one of the key things is that we're really drilling down right now on the infrastructure. And I think our intent is to hopefully start that construction sometime around January. We're still working a number of the private utility issues through to off-site utilities or bring the utilities into the site, and we'll start construction on that very soon. This is a placeholder for the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. They continue to work through their permitting and review process, and I anticipate that they might break ground sometime as early as middle of next year, maybe closer to the end of next year as they work through their fundraising process. I show this shot here, as I indicated before. This is Bass Hall in Fort Worth. This gives you a flavor of the kind of building that their architect has designed and the kind of building that they really are trying to emulate, I believe, for the Smith Center. The Lou Ruvo Brain Institute is under construction. This is actually about a 30-day-old shot, and that building is actually bigger than it looks now, but we're excited because this represents the first actual construction of a building on Union Park. The World Jewelry Center, we're continuing to work with Robert Zarnigan's group, Probity International, on numerous aspects of this project, how it fits into the infrastructure, their retail component, as well as their tower. We are negotiating in earnest right now with Newland regarding their reserve blocks and which of those would start construction, the timing of those, and then the actual value that we would propose to sell those blocks for. We expect that we'll be bringing to you in the very near future their development agreement and amendment to the master agreement respecting how they would get started on their first phase of their project. They believe their first phase would be parcel F, which is the one in the middle, the right-hand side in the middle. And then they would continue with parcel C, which is in the upper left-hand corner of their blocks. That would comprise their first phase, and they're looking at a considerable addition of both low and moderate density residential development with ground floor retail on the base of those buildings. We continue to work with the Charlie Palmer Group through the design development and all the issues relative to their boutique hotel on their site. Remember, this was a sketch that they showed you when they presented their E&A before you at the council, or at the RDA meeting and the council meeting previously. And this will start to take more concrete form in terms of actual architecture, and at some point we'll be releasing public versions of their architecture. We continue to have very serious discussions with Forest City Enterprises and Barnett Lieberman and David Mitchell on the swap for a block on Live Work Las Vegas site for City Hall for the PQ site on Union Park. Forest City, there we're looking at the valuation difference in those two sites, the timing of their development proposals, and what actually gets built. We've been having basically meetings every 2 weeks with the entire Forest City team, and I'll tell you this, they now have a very large team in place, and they're very committed to development of their project. I would indicate that they just recorded their partnership now. They are fully vested in Las Vegas. Forest City Enterprises recorded an $81 million mortgage on the 5 blocks of Live Work Las Vegas that represents their 60% ownership share of the 5-block project. So Forest City is here to stay and now a major partner with the city and with Mitchell and Lieberman on development of their 5 blocks. This is that 5-block area. Of course, that block that kind of sticks out at the top is the block that we're looking at as a swap for PQ, and that would be the site where we're looking at the development of a future city hall on as part of that trade. We continue to work with the Access Medical Group on Parcel J on Union Park. They are working through their design development process. This is simply a sketch that was presented in their proposal to us for how that might look on the site. That will start to be more finalized, and both this and the Charlie Palmer projects are doing costing right now, getting construction cost estimates, and really starting to firm up how those projects will take place on Union Park. The Las Vegas Premium Outlets continues to move along. This is our second parking garage. As you know, they are now actually under development of their expansion on the former surface parking area. It's been a little crazy over there because now they only have their 1 parking garage to support the entire site until their second garage opens. I think when their second garage opens, and there'll be a little more breathing room for parking over in that area, and then shortly thereafter we'll see completion of the retail space. And we're excited because that adds about another 100,000 square feet of new retail space downtown. This is an interesting shot of the Mulaski Corporate Center. I think this is a shot looking from Main Street through existing buildings. They will soon be having our grand opening ceremony to open the building. And as you know, this is a LEED certified building. And we're excited about this one because this is the first major injection of Class A office space downtown, 285,000 square feet, and it's really set the tone for lease rate in the Las Vegas market, regional market. And we really expect that this will generate more interest in office development downtown, both on Union Park and Live Work and other areas downtown because of the success in the build out of this building. In summary and moving forward, we've got 160 projects in various stages of progress, $1.6 billion under construction. As you know, we've got over $20 billion now planned. Some of those that are complete, Soho Lofts, Newport Lofts it doesn't have its CO, its final CO yet. They are delivering units. They are actually transferring units to some of their new buyers. Allure Towers is in, I believe, that same position. Jewel is topped out. They're moving along nicely. I think the thing that was interesting when you talk to the City Mark folks is the most successful component, they indicated, of their project is the live-work units, the actual units where you buy your unit, have your own business at ground level, and then you live above your unit. Those have been very, very successful, and they've been very bullish on that product, and they are going to try to build more of that as they find additional sites downtown. Streamline Tower, a lot of us see this building outside our window as we look out that side of City Hall, and we get to see the progress of this building. I think most of us are impressed at the sheer size of this building. This is a very large building, 275 units in the corner of the entertainment district, so it really helps anchor a lot of things we're trying to do in that general vicinity. Verge is another project that we understand is on the verge of maybe of actually happening. They've indicated they've sold a number of their units out, or at least got pre-sales, and maybe in a position that this may be one of the next ones we see actually start construction. Aquarius is another one that we've been working with. This is another one of David Mitchell and Barnett Lieberman's project. They have the site at Charleston and 4th. They're looking at building apartments and using innovative construction systems to bring the cost of construction down so that we can start to build attainable housing, housing that would be within reach of persons who actually work downtown. That's their goal on this project. Of course, Pulse Las Vegas, which is the REI project, we continue to have weekly meetings with REI on the arena. They are very serious. We are making progress as we move forward week by week. We actually have another meeting tomorrow, and we will be bringing back to you what we're drafting right now is a very detailed letter of intent agreement that will be binding, that respects all the aspects of what we're moving forward with on this project, and we'll be bringing back that to you either at the next meeting, or we either will extend that agreement or bring it back at the October meeting, depending on the timing of when we can have it all together. As you know, that is a very large project. We're having to get our arms around a lot of issues in this project. Whether it'll be ready for September, we're not quite sure yet, but we will bring either an extension of the existing MOU or the definitive agreement back to you at the September 19th meeting.
Your Honor? Yes. Now would probably be an appropriate time to ask, with the announcement from Harrah's and the AEG people, Mr. Adams, you feel confident this is going to happen? You feel confident this is heading our direction?
Well, we're not going to be deterred at all in our, the Harrah's announcement doesn't deter REI, doesn't deter us. We look at that deal and don't understand how that attracts an NBA or NHL team to Las Vegas. We don't understand how that works. That wasn't described in their public announcement on that project. So
I'll tell you this, that when we went through the selection process and we narrowed it down from the 4 finalists down to REI, we said to each of the finalists that AEG has in fact talked to the city, that they plan to go forward, that they have a fine reputation, that they build arenas and they have projects very similar to what they're announcing. And we asked them, we looked them right in the eye, and we said, if they go forward and they're first in the ground, are you still going to go forward? And each of the 4 applicants said yes, including REI. So you take people at their word.
And I guess that's as good of an answer as I'm going to get, huh, Your Honor? Thank you. Thank you both.
That's probably where we are right now.
Yeah, I just am looking at this in regards to a county-city issue, and, looking at their drawings, REI has been much more specific in regards to what they're planning on doing down there. So it's just going to be interesting to see. I really want this to impact the downtown area and make a significant difference, and I think we're on that track.
Right. We made that known, and you can't stop the private sector from going forward. That's the way it works. But we certainly do want an arena in the downtown part of this whole redevelopment area. No question about that.
Stand High is Sam Cherry's 3rd project that he is moving along in the design, development, and permitting process on. This could be another one that could be one of the next ones to go in the downtown area. I bring this one up to indicate that we're working very actively, the Office of Business Development and the Redevelopment Agency staff, with the retail leasing community downtown. We've been working with a number of the major brokers to go out and market a lot of the ground floor retail space that exists to new retail businesses to bring them into the downtown area. We think that's a legitimate focus of our office in terms of recruiting new businesses into the downtown area. And as a lot of these new projects open up, with the fact that the Centennial Plan mandates ground floor retail space, we have a lot of new ground floor retail space that's available for new businesses to occupy. So we have launched with the retail brokerage community a campaign called Retail Las Vegas, which is going to be an effort just to really get that space out there in the market, let everybody be aware of it, and really market the heck out of downtown to new retail businesses to get them into the downtown area. Urban Lofts is another developer that's just trucking along, completed his first project and working on 3 now, 3 more. Moving along the entertainment district, as you know, we just launched the opening of the improvements in the entertainment district. I show this picture because one of the things that was done when the entertainment district was designed was really to mimic a lot of the history of Las Vegas, and this shows that overhead entry portal, we actually had one of those back in the early days of Las Vegas on Fremont Street, and not at that location, but in another location. So there was an effort there, not only the neon signage, but some of the other elements to mimic a lot of the history of things that went on in Las Vegas. This is, of course, the shot of the grand opening in the early evening before it really got started, to show what the entire streetscape looks like. And of course that evening, and not just that evening, but every weekend and other weeknight evenings, a lot of the businesses that are in that district are now reporting their businesses doing very well. The Beauty Bar here, the Griffin has done very well. It shows Griffin side by side with the Tattoo Parlor, and of course, remember, those are visual improvement program projects. Take One Nightclub, the Downtown Cocktail Room, all are doing brisk business in the downtown area. Club V is actually very busy now, working away on their tenant improvements. They've done some preliminary work. They are on the verge of receiving their final permits to get started on the work, and they are still making an effort to be open by the end of the year, possibly as early as Thanksgiving, but it may be more right around New Year's Eve that they might open by, in terms of actually having the club open and available along with all the others in the district. We have been really pushing now, as from a marketing standpoint, bringing new clubs into the area. We've been formulating a campaign to get out nationally and attract more businesses into the entertainment district that can occupy some of the vacant space in that area. The block is another area that's still doing very well. We've been working with that area as well as the post office block with the CIM group on their project. They will be submitting in October their preliminary master plan for how they see the whole 3rd Street area and all of Lady Luck and the post office development tying together and being redeveloped. We're very impressed by CIM's professionalism, the fact that they're a very large institutional developer. They really know what they're doing, and we're excited to have them here in a part of this development. The Pint, Hennessy's Tavern is another addition that's been doing very, very well. Mickey Finn's. All of these have brought some element of live entertainment or some new thing into the area that's really livening and entertaining the entire district. The Canyon Club has recently opened. Moving into East and West Las Vegas, Alpha Omega continues to work with us on 1501 North Decatur. The issue with them right now is there was some on-site contamination. We have been working through with them on a number of issues. There was an adjacent dry cleaner that leached over onto our site, and there was some other contamination on site. We're working through with them on all the due diligence studies they need to do to get their lender satisfied. This was a lender-driven issue. Lenders don't like contamination, and the lender kind of balked on those issues, wanted further clarification of the extent and quality of that contamination. We're working through with them on defining what that is and getting that resolved prior to site closing and development. We continue to work in West Las Vegas on grocery store development. We've offered a draft development agreement to Hank Gordon for development of the 10-acre site. We're working through issues on that development agreement. Hope to button that up and bring that back to you for approval here very soon. And at the same time, we continue to work with the Edmondtown Center Partnership, Safeway, and others on bringing new grocery businesses and anchors into the former Vaughn space at Edmondtown Center. We actually have, as we speak, 3 different grocers looking at that space, and we continue to aggressively pursue all 3 of those to hopefully realize one of those landing in that former Vaughn space. Just working quickly through the Enterprise Park projects, this is another shot of the RLT Corporation's corporate office and training center for the McDonald's system here locally. This is the FBI building that recently opened. The Urban Chamber of Commerce, we continue to work with them on finalizing a revised development agreement so that they can capture their federal funding and move forward with their project. This is the Expertise School of Beauty that continues to do well. And the Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow is very close to pulling a building permit and actually starting development of their project on the 1-acre site next to the Expertise Beauty School. Stuart Mojave has closed. The Urban Lofts Group has closed on that site. That's that 3rd site that I mentioned that they'll be looking at for development of their Urban Lofts concept. Moving along into the casinos, the El Cortez, really, I think a lot of folks got a chance to see the El Cortez with the opening of the entertainment district, and were favorably impressed. I know they got a big jolt of business that evening, and a lot of people really got reintroduced to the renovated El Cortez. As I mentioned, we work with CIM on the Lady Luck. The Golden Nugget continues to move through their development process of expansion, the development of their new gaming floor. Their pool area is done. And we continue to work on the development of the 5th Street School. These are some construction shots. It's under construction. It's active right now on the site. There are a number of issues being looked at: underground utilities, roof structure, interior renovations. This is a shot of the gym as it was progressing, the former auditorium, what it will look like on the left, and where it is right now in the renovation process on the right. And then finally, in the Bulldog site, we continue to work with City Mark through on that agreement. We do have another grocer that has expressed interest in downtown that we're working with City Mark on that site. That may be the last gasp in terms of trying to get a grocer into that site. If that doesn't work, we've looked at other retail options to work with City Mark on, and our focus has been on attainable housing on the upper floors, as getting a percentage of their units committed to attainable housing development within reach of persons who actually work downtown.
Your Honor, if I may.
Certainly.
On that supermarket downtown, Mr. Adams, are there any other sites, if this is the last gasp, are there any other sites downtown that we as the redevelopment agency or you and your department are looking at? And I say that because once these rooftops start to populate, there are all these units downtown, they're going to need somewhere to shop. And so I'm curious as to know what progress you've made in that regard.
Well, there's actually 2 issues at play with the grocers, and I know I personally had conversations with a number of the real estate people in the industry about downtown. One is they actually don't see the rooftops. That's, it's a little frustrating at times when we see all the new housing development occur, and 1,400 units doesn't impress a grocer. They need thousands of units in a market trade area that's sufficient in size and number of units and income to support a new store. So and they want to go out and touch and feel it. They don't want it 10 years from now, they want it a couple years from now. Another issue has been the size of the site. On the Bulldog site, that site is only 1-acre site. That means it's about 40,000 square foot site. When you take out the drive aisles and all the things that you would need for a building, it only leaves a store footprint of maybe around 25,000, 30,000 feet. Some of the grocers we've talked to want something bigger than that. And so we may be looking at trying to integrate a store into other developments. One possible potential could be Live Work Las Vegas. Another one would be Union Park. But we're looking at other sites that might have the ability to build a bigger footprint and absorb the store in a larger development. So that's one of the options that we're clearly looking at now.
Scott, but those people that are developing the Bulldog site, They also have another site that they're looking at.
Yes.
They've told me that it'd be a lot more favorable there to put their grocery over there than at this site.
Yes,
And
and
that's what they keep communicating with me is
Yes.
they do have a site.
I'm very aware of that site.
And they do have somebody who wants to go in there.
Yes, and actually, the somebody that wants to go in there is a group that's taking a second look at the Bulldog site. So we're excited. It's a chain that really wants to be. They seem to want to be downtown. They've created a brand. Tesco has had a tremendous impact on the grocery market. Every grocer in America seems to be worried about Tesco, and they're all coming up with smaller, fresh grocery concepts. And they're smaller stores that will fit better into a downtown. So some of the chains that passed on us a year ago are now taking a second look at downtown because they have these new smaller concept stores that might fit into the downtown area.
Your Honor, if I may again, Mr. Adams, the footprint for the Bulldog site, are we looking at readjusting our codes and ordinances in regards to parking and traffic when you have so many units downtown in the downtown area? I would think that we would be motivated to encourage people to walk to the grocery store,
Right.
walk to the market, and as Mr. Adams goes down this path, we're probably going to create a lot of those smaller boutique shops, a bakery, a meat store, and so forth and so on, without having a big box or a Tesco type grocery store down there. But I can't imagine a lot of people driving 2 blocks, dealing with parking and traffic to just go down to the grocery store. So are we evaluating that in regards
Absolutely.
to our requirements?
Yeah, well, we're not very strict on those anyways. With the Centennial Plan provisions, we have very, very flexible off-street parking requirements. It's driven more by the grocery chains themselves and what they demand in their own models as opposed to what we require as a city. They're harder on themselves and their own store locations we are. For example, I was on the phone for an hour with the head of real estate with one of the chains, trying to convince him to go into a smaller location and give up on their parking requirement of having parking right outside the door. But he said he's not ready to give that up. And he wasn't willing to come into a downtown environment without that easily, readily accessible, convenient parking. And that flies in the face of what you said and what we believe the future of downtown is all about. So we just may need to find another grocer that sees it differently. And actually the one that's at the table right now is one that does. It's one that's built downtown stores in other markets and understands that you don't need as much parking. You can build it above or below the store. You don't have to have it next to the store in a surface parking lot, and really look at it more of an urban model as opposed to what they're used to building out in the suburbs. And then finally, this is my last shot. This is the Malin Brown Garage, which is now open, and it's always good to see the private sector build parking in the downtown area and respond to the need for parking in an area of a critical parking shortage. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Mr. Adams? Folks, these are our downtown business owners who are terrific citizens.
We have a meeting with Tamara's.
Okay, but you guys are great, and we love the fact that you're interested in what's happening, and we look forward to you stepping up one of these redevelopment agency meetings and telling us your impression as to what you see happening, because you're here 24/7.
We will be in the future.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming down. All right, and I want to thank the council. I don't know whether it's appropriate. I just feel that it is at this point in time. That's an awesome report. It's really an extraordinary report as to the progress that has been made, and it could not be made without the support of all the council members who believe in this vision. And I just think this is the time that the public should know that all this is happening because of the efforts of each and every one of us who are sitting up here on the dais. It's unanimous as far as the energy that goes behind to make these redevelopment agency projects successful. So I think it's a time to give a vote of thanks to everybody. Yes, let's put a 2-minute timer on because I want to start the council meeting on time.
Tom McGowan, Las Vegas resident. I would hazard the opinion that what the director just described predominantly is reminiscent of small town America in the 1930s and 1940s. You may not quite agree with that, but that was my experience. You're talking about a market, a boutique, a neighborhood market. The prime ingredient is personality. The market owner-operator has to know the people, has to care about the people. The minute he exhibits that, they will flock to him. They don't have to park to get there. If they don't get there personally, they'll send their kids there. That's a community. I request a public copy of the hearing subject RDA current status and projection report. In respectful reminder, community development and redevelopment is a coherently master planned, as comprehensively integralized, holistic process, naturally ordered as an invariably dynamic state of flux, evolving and ongoing funnily and phasically over the near, intermediate, and far-term continuum. The key word in the phrase community development is community, not development. At optimum, the two elements are inter-enhansive, intra-reinforcive, and non-separable. Currently, a series of meetings are in progress in furtherance of my proposal for the ensured successful community development and redevelopment of the entire greater downtown area of the city of Las Vegas, including but not limited to the historic West Side community, Fremont Square, Fremont East, the East Fremont Corridor, and the Arts District. You will be timely advised of positive progress and avail of the opportunity to provide your supportive endorsement of that process in the genuine best public and private interest of all residents of the city of Las Vegas inclusively. I recommend you approve the RDA report and prepare for the next and greater efforts. Thank you.
Yes, Al Gallego, citizen of Las Vegas. I want to enlighten Mr. Adamson that we have a little grocery store in the downtown area that they've been trying to expand, but the redevelopment corporation hasn't been helping them at all. This is the LA Market down on across the street from Reed Whipple Center. They want to enlarge their store across the street, right next to Reed Whipple, but they don't have any help from the city. That little store, it started as a clothing store for the casino people that were working here in Las Vegas, and now it has turned into a little grocery store. And most of the people that come there now walk. And it's doing a fabulous business, but the city isn't helping. If you go down there and look at the new mural that they just put in front of that building, it is beautiful. That store is really coming up, but the city needs to help them. The gentleman doesn't have that much money to build the store larger. He needs a little more help, and that store does fabulous business. Thank you.
All right, may I have a motion, please?
Yes, Your Honor. I would follow to accept Scott's report. I think he did a fantastic job, like you mentioned. So I would move to accept the report.
All right, let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 10 is citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Redevelopment Agency. No subject may be acted upon by the Redevelopment Agency unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record, and we'll put the 3-minute timer on. We're back to 3.
Tom McGowan, Las Vegas resident. Notwithstanding opinion to the contrary, I hold each and all of you in the highest personal and professional esteem, admiration, and regard. I hope you heard that. Loud and clear. It's on the public record. You can read it if you like. Because I perceive that you are well-educated, well-intended, good and decent people, fundamentally, until and unless conclusively proven otherwise. You may understand why I said that. One of your former colleagues is, at this moment, entering the courthouse to defend her allegations against her activities. She was a very good and decent person. And we'll see how it comes out in court. And my words to you are solely intended to help you, the best of my ability, to stay out of jail. If you think that's not possible, either way, it certainly is. There's a whole documentable history of it in this state of Nevada. Everything you do or don't do as public officials affects the quality of life and opportunities for all residents of the city of Las Vegas, Respect for official leadership is not a given, but must be earned by strict adherence to your oath of public office. If deservedly earned, respect is naturally forthcoming in abundance. But this is a nation of laws, and the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land. Others may come before you from time to time to gush and fawn and attempt to curry favor, in the vacuous hope that one or more of you may be susceptible to flattery. Persons who exercise that option seldom bring anything of substantive content to the table. Hopefully one day they may. In summary, democracy is not a spectator sport. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And in order to develop a better city, state, nation, and world, we each and all have to strive to become better people, inclusively and without exception, in the spirit of genuine community. I would like to welcome back the lovely and talented Deanie to the clerk's office. Hi, Deanie. How are you? Aloha. The written text of my public comment is submitted and requested inclusion in the meeting minutes in compliance with NRS 241. That whole meeting law. Thank you.
Yes, El Gallo, a citizen of Las Vegas. First, I want to thank Councilman Barlow for the fence that went up. He knows the fence over in Veterans Memorial, but they need to finish it. They need a gate. But thank you very much. Now, I have 3 o'clock this morning, I was ready to come down here to this meeting. When I walked into that door, they asked me, which meeting are you coming to, the city council meeting or the redevelopment? Because if you're coming to the city council meeting, you can't come in. What does that mean, that I can't come in? This is what the security guard told me there. It doesn't make a difference which meeting I'm coming to. If I want to come in here, I can come in here. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I was ready to come here. Don't tell me I can't come in here. I'm very discouraged with what the security guard told me. They were ready to carry me out. It doesn't make a difference which meeting I'm coming to. Thank you.
Okay, well, I want the record to be perfectly clear that anybody who wants to attend a public meeting in this council chamber, whether it be redevelopment or whether it be the council meeting, is certainly welcome. And I will make that very clear to those people who are in charge of security.
Thank you very much, sir.
Beatrice Turner, West Las Vegas. I see Mr. Adamson did his report, and I'm still looking at the Edmonds Town Center. They got, about 3 businesses over there, a beauty shop, 99-cent store, and something else. I told y'all from day one when y'all went to messing with John Edmond, I don't think that's a good idea. It ain't gonna work, because first of all, he ain't no good businessman. Now, we sitting over there looking at that white elephant by this empty as hell, an empty grocery store. You know, he's not out there trying to find no businesses to put in there. You know, because several people have went to him, and the prices that they want to charge people to move up in there, and then you got to do the bill out in those buildings. Nobody gonna come over there and do that. He should have did that when he built that. He should have built those buildings out. And I want to know, Oscar, have you been over there looking at that empty shell that sit over there, that how many times did I come stand here and say, I don't advise y'all to do that. John Edmond do not know what he doing. But you did it anyway. And we, the ones, have to sit there and look at it. And I understand that we, the people that live in Bonanza Village, is not going to get a meeting with that councilman to let us know what's going to happen to when the fence is going to come down, because he probably don't know no way. So the next thing that I have to say to you, the good Mayor Oscar Goodman, you know, you appoints to that Housing Authority Board, and it seems like everybody you appointed lately look like they might be indicted or going to jail or whatever. We don't need the priest on our board. We need somebody with credibility. How we gonna tell he gonna sit there and make policies for the residents when he's sitting there and he's not doing right? And you know, he need to get off our board, and we need to put somebody with some somebody else on that board besides him. He needs to get off. Let him go and do prayer and whatever with Michael McDonald and Rick Rislow, and they all can hold hands together and pray together. But he needs to get up off the Housing Authority board, and you need to make that happen, because the Housing Authority done had a lot of bad press, and I stand accused that I've been one who have brought much bad press to them. But now it's time to turn the Housing Authority around, so the Housing Authority won't have that bad press. Because the only time the Housing Authority name did not appear in the paper was on Sunday, saying he was the chairman of the Housing Authority board. So while you out looking, and make sure you screen them out, and make sure when you put them on our board that they have some kind of, they're not hooked up with these creatures out here. And the last thing I have to say, when Michael McDonald brought that project for that senior housing, my seniors that saw that on TV said, absolutely not. You're not going to move us over there and that. And you know, and most of my seniors have moved now, and they moved in Frank Hawkins' new place on Sears and Eastern, and they're very happy with that. And they said under no circumstances was I'm going to move them over there. They said, because that looked like a circus and a disaster waiting to happen.
Okay, would anyone else like to be heard at this time? All right, hearing none, the redevelopment agency is...
For 1 second, that's all I need. Oscar, I always bring my name.
Identify yourself for the record.
Again, okay. I'm known as president. That's another thing about me. When I come down to City Hall and county too, I put my name and address. A lot of people say, well, my name is so-and-so, and I'm a Las Vegas resident. That's not a house address. So I'm going to give you my house address. My name is Anthony Hart, and I live 123 Sir David Way. But anyway, Oscar, I'm here today to let you know that you've been a friend for a long time, but you got a problem going between you and Jan Jones, and she has been my first friend for many, many years, even before she became a council mayor, the first woman mayor. So the idea, what I'm trying to say right now, Oscar, according to her, you got the ladies kind of upset. So to show you how I stand with ladies, the very first lady of the United States, I know you call your wife the first lady of Las Vegas, but this is a picture of the first lady of the United States, and she sent me and my wife. Today is the 48th anniversary of me and my wife. It just happened to be on September the 5th. It just happened to be your council meeting. That's the only reason I'm down here, because I don't even like coming down here no more, because y'all beginning to become to be a joke. But like they're saying, I don't want you to get yourself in a lot of trouble, Oscar, over a lot of different things. But right now, I just want to let you know that today is me and my wife's anniversary, and if me and this beautiful lady can take a picture with you today. I've never asked you for much, Oscar, and you have made promises, but you never kept. Now, if I bring my wife down here today at the end of the council meeting at 4 o'clock or 5, whenever, we even got, me and my wife been invited down to the wing. What I'm trying to say, a lot of people think a lot of me and my woman, man. No, Oscar. My wife, I want you to take a picture with me and my wife today. I don't want no black picture that turned up to look like this thing that y'all took of me and them two councilmen years ago. This is a joke.
Okay, Mr. Hodges.
This is a joke, Oscar.
Couple things. I want to wish you a happy anniversary. That's
when I want that picture, will you take it with her?
And when you bring your wife down here, I'm going to
At 5 o'clock today, I want the end of your meeting. I don't want to interfere with your meeting.
I'm stopping the meeting, and I'm
You're not listening to me?
And I'm going to have my picture taken with you and your wife. That's going to be an anniversary present to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to ruin you all day. And by the way, all of you, sir, and Ward 5 guys, bless you, okay? This is the picture they took of me when the guy that created all these wards, you guys know it's your job. The idea, this is a joke. Will you guys take a picture that at least show up with me, please?
Okay.
This is a joke.
All right. Getting a little out of hand now.
Have a good day.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to scream? All right. Then the redevelopment agency meeting is adjourned.
Pardon me, Mayor.
Yes, we're going to take
Mayor.
is in recess because of the Neonopolis matter, and the council meeting will begin in about 10 minutes. Yeah, what am I supposed to do? Related to RDA items 3 and 4. Mr. Adams.
Yes, Scott Adams, Director of the Office of Business Development. I also might mention, if I take the liberty, that Mr. Matkins, the attorney to Fremont Square, is present, so if you wanted to take that matter up at some point, he is here in the audience. Item 68 is the companion resolution to the two items that were approved by the RDA in this morning's session. This companion resolution simply consents to the actions taken by the RDA and finds those actions consistent with the redevelopment plan. With your approval of this resolution, those two items this morning become effective.
All right, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Adams? All right, hearing none.
Yes, Your Honor. I make a motion to follow this morning's recommendation of the RDA Board as well as recommendation of staff.
Very good. Let's vote. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 69 is R66-2007, discussion on possible action regarding a resolution consenting to the undertakings of the City of Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency in connection with the Commercial Visual Improvement Program agreement between the RDA agency and Buyers Only Real Estate Agency, LLC, doing business as Vegas Wedding Chapel located at 555 South 3rd Street, being in compliance with and in furtherance of the goals and objectives of the RDA in Ward 3, and this item is related to the RDA item 5 and to RDA item 6. Mr. Adams.
Yes, for the record, this is the similar companion item to the two items this morning in the RDA agenda regarding the Vegas Wedding Chapel at 555 South 3rd Street. Again, making those same findings that you're consenting to the actions taken by the RDA and finding those actions consistent with the redevelopment plan.
All right, are there any questions of Mr. Adams? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion?
Thank you again, Your Honor. I make a motion to follow RDA's recommendation for approval as well as staff's recommendation for approval. And I ask you to follow my lead on this.
All right, let's vote, please. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We're going to call the item that was, I have to, at this time we're recessing the council meeting. I'm reopening the RDA meeting.
Good job.
Thank you. And I'm going to call item number 8 from the RDA agenda, discussion and possible action regarding the Fremont Square Parking Validation Program, formerly known as Neonopolis, for Warula Hayward, LLC, located at 450 Fremont Street. This is in Ward 5. Mr. Adams?
Yes, as I mentioned this morning, this is a consideration of an additional extension of the parking validation program at Fremont Square. As I mentioned, your initial validation started in September 10th of 2006. There have been continuous extensions granted by you, with your most recent one approved on the agency board meeting of June 6th, running through today, September 5th. So it does expire today, and the matter comes before you for consideration.
All right, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Adams? Yes, sir.
Well, the status, let me tell you the status of the project.
You have to identify yourself for the record.
I'm sorry, Michael Matkins, with the law firm Allen Matkins. I represent the owner of the property.
And that would be, what is that, Warula?
Warula.
Hayward?
Warula Hayward. Yeah.
LLC.
It's more complicated than that, but okay.
Well, it'd be nice to know who the owner of the property is.
Well, I'd have to look, but it's actually under a ground lease. So it's a fee with a it's all income tax driven. At the end of the day, they're all affiliated.
Okay, because as the mayor and as a city council, we're very interested in seeing something happen over there, and that's the reason we have to.
Well, the ownership
come back every 90 days, and that must be a pain in the.
Well, it is a pain, but the ownership, as you know, is very interested in having something happen there also, and has been working for a long time since the prior ownership. I also think you know, that we are in the midst of negotiating a letter of intent with a substantial publicly held company to take a portion of the third floor. We believe if we can consummate this, and I think we can, that will attract a second floor tenant that we are talking to, and we believe that if we can get the second floor tenant and the third floor tenant, that it will be rather easy to lease the first floor. But we need that anchor tenant, which we've been trying to get for a long, long time. We're close. The third floor tenant, if we had it alone, it's a cost to the ownership. We need to subsidize that. The third floor tenant alone will cost the ownership money, but we believe that will attract the second floor tenant, who will attract the first floor tenants.
See, the reason that I like to have you come back here is we are talking to Mr. Rohit.
Yes, I know.
Rohit Joshi,
and I understand
the story we get is a little different. See, the story that I understand, Mr. Adams, correct me if I'm wrong, that the tenant, and is it a secret who the discussion?
Yeah, we are trying to keep that confidential.
Okay, fine. I was under the impression that the third floor would be used as offices for that particular tenant, but the first floor would be used sort of as a public attraction. That's what I was told.
I don't think that's quite. I mean, the first floor, there's going to be some public attraction, public space use by the third floor tenant, not the whole first floor. The first floor will also, I think, have restaurants and public accommodation type tenants. And the third floor tenant that we're talking of will have offices on the third floor, and will use some of the first floor to conduct some of its business.
Well, why don't I ask you this question sort of straightforwardly? When do you think you'll have an answer of up or down?
Well, we are in about the third draft of a letter of intent. There's some issues that always happen with big tenants like this. They want to be moved in by the end of the year. So my hope is within the next 30 to 45, 60 days, the LOI will not only be done, but the lease will be signed so that they can move in by the end of the year. That's the goal.
All right. Well, thank you for answering my question.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you want to be heard, sir?
Yes, sir.
Please. Please give us your name and address.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. My name's John Keamy. I was here, I think last was about 6 months ago, concerning Mr. Joshi. A quick recap, as I'm a criminologist, I was hired by a former pro ball player and two other parties that had significant judgments, including a fraud judgment against Rohit Joshi. The participation that I had, and I only come if I think there's something relevant to the city and or concern that the city can address. Mr. Joshi's business, Joshi and Associates, is still not registered. They are a defunct former California company. They have no Las Vegas business license. In fact, have no standing in Las Vegas at all. Yet, as I look at the document today, it's still the attachment of today's number 8. It still referenced Joshi and Associates. Now, to Mr. Adams' credit, I had a nice conversation with him yesterday, and he mentioned that it's more for history. Without belaboring the point of Mr. Joshi and his conduct over the years, including situations that he had with other municipalities, none as large as Las Vegas, there are character issues. One of our judgments is a fraud judgment. He has now put various entities in control of Neonopolis. Now, I checked the business license scan because obviously we're trying to find what we believe accurate is that he does have a participatory interest in Neonopolis. However, there's now we're all at USA who has the business license, which is even a new entity to me. And if you call the number listed, it actually goes to a voicemail for Joshi and Associates. So if I'm asking anything today, and I think it's actually productive for the city, as they are your partner in this, what you've called an albatross at times, is to identify who the over 1% owners are, which he was required to do. I don't know that he has in this initial 90-day extension agreement. And my second concern is to find out who he is in relation to this development. Obviously, we have specific interests. We see Warella Hayward, FAEC Warella. We see Joshi and Associates littered throughout the paper. So I would like for the city council to at least identify that. Lastly, the liquor license issue. Frankly, one of the ways we felt as though we would smoke him out, and again, he is an erstwhile character. Documents, I gave you the Stanley Ho documents, misrepresented his arrangement with him. We'd smoke him out because Bonabai would have to be on that license. He refused to submit. The city code's pretty clear on that. Mr. DiFiore sat here and said that he would have to submit. He did not. this council gave them a liquor license, gave Mr. Joshi's girlfriend a liquor license, whom Mr. Joshi, in an article no more than a month ago, described in quotes as a silent owner. I would imagine that the intent of the liquor license law is to protect these types of third parties from, running these sorts of operations. So the concern overwhelming is that Mr. Joshi has a smokescreen going up, and that it was perpetuated by the council with this liquor license and by accepting all of these various Warella entities without there being any substantiation. And I say that with a lot of regard for this council. I mean, I saw these presentations, including Mr. Adams. You're doing great things down here for development. But I do believe right is right and wrong is wrong. And as long as he's enabled, he'll continue to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Henry, I think the suggestion's probably a good suggestion. I know Mr. Mackin indicated that this is all being set up for a land lease purpose, but I think we're entitled, since we are in fact their partner, to find out who we're doing business with. And I would like to ask the city attorney to
Your Honor,
get the answer to that question.
we've done this. We went through this. We've sat with the city.
It could be, but I
we'll do it again. We've sat with the city attorney. We've given the city attorney.
I want to do it again.
Okay,
because I don't like the answers. I really don't. I don't like the answers. And right now, if I had my brothers, I'd break whatever relationship we have with them and try to take it over and start from scratch. I'm told by my city attorney that we can't do that. I understand he is in default now, but it's for a minimal amount of money, and he'll probably pay that. If he didn't, I could promise you and him that we would be in there taking it over.
Well, as to the ownership and all of that, we have sat with the city attorney. We've given the city attorney, I think he was satisfied. We did that probably, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'd like to do it again.
We'll do it again. No, we have no problem with that.
I'd like to do it again. Then, Mr. Henry, if you would, in our briefing, tell us what the story is and advise us whether or not we can terminate our relationship, if there's any way we could legally do that. Enough is enough.
Very well.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Not so sure this is the signal you want to send this tenant, but it's up to you.
Well, that's the signal I'm sending.
Mr. Mayor, are you requesting that we will be told who all the owners are?
I'd like to know who the city's partner is.
Who's the city's partner is, the basic partners we started with, as well as any new ones coming on.
Right.
Okay, and if we are given that information and anything is found not to be legitimate, then that's fraud, right?
I would think so.
Okay. And
Probably
that's
not, but that's okay. We'll give the information.
But we don't want to have any hidden ownerships. We want to know, even if it's a 1% ownership or a 0.5% ownership or some LLC way far away ownership, we want to know every single ownership.
We've disclosed it before. We'll disclose it again.
And that's what you're requesting?
That's what I'd like.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you. You got it. Apparently not. Okay, Councilor Barlow?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I have met with the publicly traded company in which you spoke of, Mr. Mackins, and it is my hope that a lease will be able to be signed at least by the fairly soon, and they will be able to come in to this location by the end of the year, as you stated. I have a lot of reservation in regards to this development because of its long-standing and long, colorful history. I believe that the city is doing all that it can do in order to really help this Neonopolis project, and we want nothing more but success to come out of this development. So if in fact we have to go back, as the mayor stated, and revisit some things that we've visited in the past, I support that, and I hope that you can respect that at the same time and provide us with that additional information that we're seeking in order for us to be comfortable, in order for us to remain on the same page, in order for us to assist this development in the way it really needs the assistance. So for that, I am in support of the 90-day extension so that we may provide the company that you're looking to bring into the third floor and do business also on the first floor an opportunity to come in and be the benchmark or the pace setter to really launch Neonopolis in the direction it needs to go. And so it is my hope that you're able to accomplish that goal.
Councilman, I think the city's been very supportive of help, as I understand it, of helping us get this tenant, and certainly we want the tenant. Every day we don't have tenants, it costs us lots of money. Certainly, a way to help get that tenant isn't to try to defame or tear down the ownership, because that will not help give this tenant confidence. And we need to give this tenant confidence that not only can we get the tenant in there, but that we can create synergism at the whole property so that other tenants will come. And I think the ownership's been working very hard at that, just driven by trying to make some money, not anything else. And it's been a tough road. It'll continue to be tough. We're hopeful that this is the break the ownership's been trying to create for a couple of years now. But certainly as to disclosures and things regarding the ownership, we've done it. We'll do it again. We'll do it as many times as you want. We have nothing to hide. We're just trying to get tenants.
Okay, and I can appreciate that. And the owners themselves have shared with me in my office that they are committed, and it is my hope once again that they are committed and that they do what they're looking forward to do, because it's going to be a win-win for the entire community once they do sign a lease and once they do come in and become the anchor tenant that we're looking for. I believe that the entire community will be able to celebrate its grand opening.
Yeah, we hope so too.
Thank you.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes, Councilman Wilson.
Not to beat a dead horse too much, but just as a natural tangent, if you will, extension. Sir, I don't remember your name. What's your last name?
Keamy, Mr. Keamy.
You're a lawyer, aren't you?
I'm actually a criminologist.
A criminologist?
Yeah.
Well, that means you have a degree in criminology?
That's right.
Okay, but you're talking about somebody having judgments against perhaps one of the principles that we're talking about. What is your interest in relation to these judgments against Mr. Joshi?
Sure. My interest is that I am attempting to locate his assets and his affiliation with this property, as well as any of his other development.
Do you represent anybody?
I do. I represent three different parties, three different parties at this point.
I guess my only comment would be, I think that when we move in this forward direction to hopefully come to a position where we have tenants and we have viable businesses that come to this property, and it's good for everybody, that I think as part of this formula, our city attorney should check out, if they haven't already, and provide us with information to confirm or not confirm the information that this gentleman is giving us. I mean, would it have an effect on our judgment if you come before us in 60 and 90 days and talk about, okay, we've got a great tenant, and my principal is Mr. Joshi, but Mr. Joshi has these judgments against him? I think it's just all part of the evaluation that we need to go through. So if it hasn't been done yet, I'm going to ask our city attorney to follow up on these things and in future briefings advise us of such.
Councilman Wolfson, we were directed to do this 6-8 months ago.
I thought so.
And we conducted a serious inquiry. We asked for original documents to be produced, and we were satisfied that Mr. Joshi had no ownership in what was then known as Neonopolis. And I know, or I believe from talking to the city attorney, that at least the office of the mayor was briefed as to those findings. Now, I understand we've been directed to conduct the same investigation again, and we would be glad to do that.
Well, I'd like to know this, Mr. Mackin, if you could tell me.
I can tell you.
Or whether you will tell me.
I will tell you.
I've been told that whoever purchased the interest from Prudential paid $25 million for it. And I've been told that...
I think that's a matter of public record.
I believe it is. And then I've been further told that with the loss of income and the expenditures for the upkeep, that they probably have about $30 million into it. I was then told that there was an asking price of $60 million if it were to be sold. And now I'm being told there's an asking price of $90 million. And the person who appears to be setting these asking prices is not your client, but Mr. Joshi. I'd really like to find out who's setting the asking prices, because we're not going to be able to have that sold for $90 million tomorrow, that's for sure.
I don't think the property's on the market. I don't think there is an asking price.
Joshi, excuse me, Mayor, but Mr. Joshi was coming before us for 2 years about this property, about this extension, and now I'm hearing he's not in the picture, and Mr. Mackin represents other people. I mean, I'm a decently smart guy. I'm not a real smart guy, but I'm pretty confused at this point.
Councilman, I don't think we've ever, Mr. Joshi, who has some relationship with the ownership, we have never come in here and said that Mr. Joshi has any ownership interest. He doesn't. And he has never made any representations on behalf of the ownership, to my knowledge. Well, let me tell you what's going on here. Excuse me. We got a bill collector. That's what he is. This is what this guy is a bill collector. He's got a beef with Joshi, so he's throwing it on the wall everywhere he can. That's not good for the project. That's not good for the ownership. It's not good for the city. It's not even, in my view, this council shouldn't even, this matter doesn't belong here in this forum. This belongs somewhere else. And you've dignified it, and it just doesn't, it's not good.
Mayor Goodman, with your permission, I respect what you just said, and I think you're probably right, but this is America, so we invite people to come in, and I put his role, if you will, on the proper shelf. But I want to go back to the core here, and who are we dealing with? Who are you speaking for? Because it seems to just keep changing and evolving over time.
Well, I don't think it's changed at all. Mr. Bonnaby, who's not a resident of the United States, directly or indirectly owns this property. When I say nobody else, I think his son has an interest in it. I don't remember, but it's all Mr. Bonnaby controlled. And Mr. Bonnaby, a friend of Mr. Bonnaby is Rohit Joshi. Mr. Joshi has no economic interest in this property.
I guess what's confusing is, and then I'll shut up, is that Mr. Joshi was the face man who was coming before us time and time again, and then we haven't seen him for a while. We've been seeing you, so it's confusing.
All right.
Councilman?
We'll call for the question now. Councilman, do you have a motion?
Yes, I've made a motion, Mayor. I'm slightly confused now myself with the newest information, not necessarily trying to chime in on what the gentleman has brought to us, but the representation that you mentioned as far as Mr. Joshi not having or being the right or the wrong person to represent before this council.
He's a representative of the owner. He is not the owner.
Okay. Well, at this point, while the attorneys assist us in working through this maze, I would move to allow the extension to take place, and that would be my motion at this time.
What was the motion again, please?
I move for approval of this item, Mayor.
For how long? What staff's recommendation? 90 days?
What was staff, 90 days?
There is, you have traditionally given 90-day extensions. I think what I'm hearing Mr. Matkins say is that they should have a lease wrapped up maybe within 45, give them 60 days. So I would say an extension somewhere in the vicinity of 60 to 90 days ought to get you through a point where hopefully they can come forward and make us aware of how definite those negotiations have reached and whether they have a lease or not with this high-level tenant that really should make a big change in the positive future of this project.
Then my recommendation would be subject to council's background information as far as time that you all would need in order to get us that additional information as well.
So you figure about 60 days? We'll extend the validation for 60 days. We should have the answer to all of our
60 days would be fine.
Right,
that would be my
I'm
recommendation.
sorry, Mayor Goodman. Before we go to vote, excuse me, Councilman Barlow, may I just ask, with your permission, Mr. Henry just told me something that gave a little bit more insight, and I'd invite him to advise the council of what he just advised me.
As I said, we conducted an investigation at the direction of the mayor as to the ownership of Neonopolis. We had Mr. Joshi in. I spoke with him. We had Mr. Bonnaby Jr. in. I spoke with him. I spoke with counsel who's appearing before you several times over the telephone. Mr. Bonnaby Jr., at my request, immediately brought me original source documents as to management, as to ownership, and counsel provided me with other things. We also conducted an investigation of various legal databases in California to try to get to the bottom of who Mr. Joshi was. And our conclusion was this: although there are a number of LLCs and a lease and transfer of this property over a short period of time, that they exist and the transfers were done for tax purposes, that in essence the owner of this property is a gentleman who I'll refer to as Mr. Bonnaby Sr., a very wealthy man who lives in India. His son, Mr. Bonnaby Jr., resides here in the United States, and when last I knew, here in Las Vegas. Mr. Joshi is a person who I would describe as the family retainer, perhaps here in the United States as much as anything, to look out to report to Mr. Bonnaby Sr. as to his business interest. I found nothing to suggest that Mr. Joshi ever had an ownership interest in this property, and I directly asked Mr. Bonnaby Jr. Upon how would Mr. Joshi be compensated for all of his work, whatever the quality of it might have been. And I was told that he has confidence that Mr. Bonnaby Sr. will take care of him when the property sells, if it sells, or at the end of this project, as he always has before. So I inquired directly as to why Mr. Joshi had represented himself as the owner of this property before the council for a period of almost 2 years. And although I didn't get a direct answer, I came to be of the personal opinion that to the extent that he ever told the council that he had an ownership stake in this property, that was not an accurate representation. I would be glad to investigate this matter again as I did before, but I don't have a reason to believe that I would reach a different conclusion.
All right, well,
And he described it accurately.
fine, I wanted to investigate it again,
All right.
because I think we're being played for a fool here. All right, Councilman, 60-day...
Yes, Mayor, I would like to move for a 60-day extension.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying that we can't put up with this nonsense anymore. All right, let's vote.
Thank you, Mayor.
Post. Motion carries. One thing we can do, we could bring the owner, if it is this gentleman, the senior, what's his name?
Bonnaby.
Bonnaby? We could bring him forward on the liquor license, and if he doesn't want to come like he didn't want to come before, we could do what we have to do there, too. That's where I am. I'm trying to save 50 people jobs over there, and we're being played for the fool. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item 71 is the... Okay. The agency is now adjourned, and I'm reopening the council meeting. And we're up to 71?
70.
70. Pardon me. You're right. You're right. Okay. 70 is R 67-2007, public hearing and possible action regarding a resolution authorizing medium-term obligations in an amount up to $22,500,000, directing the officers of the city to forward materials to the Department of Taxation of the State of Nevada and authorizing the sale of the